Hi guys, before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to share our cruising plan for this year. As you probably already know, this year we're going to enter the Western Mediterranean, so open a new chart, and I'll show you our planned route. So we're going to try and get to Gibraltar by doing day sails because the weather isn't very good, it's pretty cold and night sails aren't that comfortable. Once we get to Gibraltar, we're going to stop off in the marina at Gibraltar to pick up a package that we have delivered. And then from there, we kind of want to get the most direct route as possible to get to the Balearic Islands, the western ones, so either Ibiza or Formentera. It won't likely be possible because we need quite a big weather window to do all of that, at least 3.5 days. But there are a few anchorage along the way, like Almeria and Cartagena and Mar Menor, so we might be able to tuck into them and then just keep going. And then from here we're going to spend a couple of months just exploring each of the Balearic Islands, so from Formentera, Ibiza, then probably head to Mallorca, if we can go to Dragonera and the natural reserves, and then by the time Mallorca gets really crowded for the holiday season, we want to be gone to Menorca. And if that is way too crowded as well, we might just keep going and start getting to either Corsica or Sardinia. And then our overall plan so far is to winter somewhere down south in Sardinia, but we're not 100% sure yet. That is our rough plan, but as you know, sailors' plans change all the time, so we'll just see how it goes.
Last time, on sailing Kittiwake, we headed up the stunning and wild Rio Guadiana, before having some Friday the 13th sailing woes where we got our anchor chain wrapped around an underwater log. In this episode, we set off into Spain, then have to seek shelter from a gale.
It's 4:45 a.m. and we're gonna try and make our way towards Cadiz. There has been kind of a storm yesterday on the coast, so we might have big swells. Just took a seasickness pill. There should be really good winds, cruising chute type of sailing, so 11 knots gusting 15 or something like that.
We had a little bit of a stressful departure from the Guadiana. Once we got outside, there was just like a maze of crab pots, and there was a fishing boat like right on our course as we were coming out. And it was just as we were putting the sails up, and it didn't have any navigation lights, just like deck lights. So we had to round up into the wind to avoid him and sort the sails out, but now we're on a really, really nice broad reach, beam reach, and the waves are pretty light because the wind's coming straight off the land, and it looks like it's going to be a really good sailing day. The sun's just about to come up, just getting pretty light, and quite excited.
The conditions are very different from the forecast of 11 knots gusting 20. I think it's at least 20 knots gusting 25 maybe. We don't have a wind instrument, so there's no way of finding out. But I'm quite glad we can just sail really fast, around 5 to 6 knots on the reefed white sails, rather than having to deal with the cruising chute, which we love, but had the wind gone up suddenly, then it becomes a little bit more stressful.
You are the fire that burned me right till the end. We didn't know we lost. It's not easy living with my fingers crossed.
the dolphins left, the wind dropped, so we hosted the cruising shoot.
Ease your sorrow. I wish that I could ease your pain. This ain't a story about happy endings. We should set this world on fire. We should tear this town apart.
As we needed to change course, we had to jibe the cruising chute. To do this in light winds, we take hold of the sheet, walking it around the front of the boat. As long as the sheet is let out far enough to depower the sail, this is easy enough to do. But with our 8mm sheet, it's definitely worth putting on some gloves.
You beautiful life.
So today's total mileage from Ayamonte to Cadiz, before we go to Rota anchorage in Cadiz, is about 67 nautical miles. We're trying to do it in one long day during daylight hours, but we'll probably get there around sunset or maybe a little bit after, but we're not really too worried about that. That was our plan all along, because it looks like a really easy anchorage to get into. So easier to do it all in daytime and risk getting there in night than setting out to sail overnight. It's been really lovely conditions this afternoon. We were going a bit slow for a while, I think mainly because we hadn't really trimmed the cruising chute quite right, but now we seem to have got that sorted and we're doing about 4.5 to 5 knots. This morning when it was really windy we were averaging about 5.2 knots, which was quite nice. But with the drop it's probably now averaging about 4.5. But yeah, that should put us there exactly at sunset. So hopefully there'll still be a little bit of light left when we do anchor.
Soon after, the wind picked up again, so we had to quickly drop the chute and swap it with the white sails.
Heart filled with worries, no more. In a world
Woohoo, we got a
of
fish!
sorrow, what for? You watch the world from the place beneath the willow, the willow. So many years, too many tears on your pillow, on your pillow. Out of the darkness, a sound. It all seems so harmless.
So we're in El Puerto de Santa Maria. We sailed about 70 nautical miles today from 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. Trying to figure it out because we had to change the time as we entered Spain. And we are anchored. We got into this anchorage just after it got dark, but we think we chose a good spot. Fingers crossed. We didn't go too close to shore because it's pretty shallow and it's medium comfortable. It's not very comfortable, but we'll be fine, and when we get up in the morning we can maybe try a better spot. It looks like we're gonna be stuck here because I had a local allergic reaction to my bee sting, so I have a sausage for a little toe. But apart from that, it's alright. It's much warmer here in the morning and even during the day.
The swell in the Puerto Sherry anchorage got worse throughout the day, so we decided to head south to the southern side of the Bay of Cadiz and go into the Rio San Pedro, a tiny river which offered good protection. So when we go into the channel, I'll probably go up on the bow and do eyeball navigation, just because it being a river, the entrance might move around a little bit and I don't think it's marked. It's not really a massive deal if we do nudge into the sand, because obviously we can dry out, and so if the tide goes out it's like no big deal. And we'll go slow enough so that we won't damage the boat. and once we get in there I think we'll either anchor in front of the moorings or weave our way through the moorings. There's lots of like small local boats moored all over the place, and then hopefully it'll be a better protected anchorage.
Ready?
It's recording.
Oh. So it wasn't too bad getting in the end. The lowest depth we had was about 1 metre under the keel. The channel on the chart plotter was medium accurate, but there were like 2 buoys that we could follow for a bit. When we came in there was quite a strong tide coming with us flowing into the river, so it was quite difficult steering. We had to keep the speed up so that we had steerage through the water, but then we were doing sort of 5 knots, which is a bit scary when you're worried about grounding. But once we were in, it went super calm and we had a really relaxing rest of the day.
So we're a little bit too close to this side of the channel, so we're re-anchoring right now, probably around there. There's more space and it's pretty deep water. But it's raining, so I'm going to put the camera in, and it's nothing really interesting to see, just as re-dropping the hook. So we've only been here for a day. We didn't even go to shore because of my foot, and we needed to do some work this morning, but we are heading off again this afternoon because we have seen the forecast and there will be winds gusting up to 50 knots in the next few days in this area. Windy is a little bit more optimistic than predict wind, but we don't really want to risk it, so we're going back to Puerto Sherry and we're gonna see what it's like once we get there. It's the best protected anchorage around here, but if the forecast is right and the winds pick up and become gusting 50, we might have to go to a marina. So we managed not to run aground a second time, woohoo! And judging from the conditions out here, the direction of the wind and the swell, we made a call to go to a different anchorage. We're going to go to Rota, which is just a little bit to the west of the Puerto Sherry anchorage. We weren't very impressed with the Puerto Sherry anchorage, so we decided to check out Rota before the big winds hit.
So we're getting Kittiwake ready to go into the marina. She's not really a close quarter manoeuvring sort of boat. She was built before marinas were really like the way that things were done. So, and she's only got one engine in the middle, so we're going to fend her up as much as possible and hope for the best.
Forecast has changed. There's going to be really high winds from tonight onwards, and some forecasts claim it's going to gust up to 55 knots. So we did well coming here last night because the marina is just there, just behind me. So we're going to go in now while the wind isn't too strong, so hopefully we get a chance to moor without accidents. It's the local marina, so it's much cheaper. I think we've been quoted 15 euros per night. So yeah, I'd rather eat rice for a week than save on this one. I don't really want to be out there in 55 knots of wind. And the most protected anchorage around is Puerto Sherry, but there has been a tornado last month there, and there's a boat beached on the beach. So yeah, we're not going to risk this one.
You go straight through my heart,
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to follow our sailing adventure. These videos are made possible by our amazing patrons. If you'd like to support our video production, then follow the link to our Patreon page. Join us next time to see how Kittiwake fares in the high winds in the marina and watch us set off towards the Mediterranean.
Phew.